Hello, friends. Have you missed me? I am so excited to be back and so excited that we are officially starting season 2 of Turn the Page podcast. I am your host, Paige, and I cannot express how much gratitude I have in this moment for being able to have you here listening to me ramble on and on about my life and the things that I've learned and the books that I love for an entire year. Like, holy shit, I cannot believe it. It's so crazy. And as an Aries, for someone who loves to start passion projects, but has a really hard time with the follow through, it's so amazing to see how this idea started and to see what it's grown into, to see how easy it is for me to still sit down in this chair and record these conversations because they give me this space to be able to be free and liberate my voice and express myself, but also in a way that adds value and service to the world. At least that's the intention, you know? And it's been it's been fun. God, it's been fun, but it's also been terrifying. And it's taught me so much about myself and the ways in which I am meant to use my voice. So, all that to be said, there would be no Turn the Page podcast if it wasn't for this community and the support and the listeners that I have here each and every week. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. But whether you tune in for one episode or the entire season, I appreciate you. I value you. And I'm so excited for us to really dive in even deeper in season 2. And I want to start this episode, but kind of talking about, I don't know, just like some of the big lessons that I've learned over the last year with this podcast, some of the lessons that I've learned within my life over the past few months, and share that journey with you because that's the whole point, right? We are turning the page into a new chapter, and that portion of our story is going to still continue. And it really is a testament to the fact that I've learned to look at everything in life as a learning experience. I've learned to look at every risk taken as an opportunity to dig deeper into who I am, what my purpose is here, and how it is that I can show up as a bigger, brighter light in the world. And isn't that like the whole point? Isn't that why we're here having this experience and doing the things that we do? The world is what convinces us that we're meant to lock into a 9 to 5 and just aimlessly work through the world and check all of these boxes and keep up with the Joneses and do all of the things that serves that system. I've learned really significantly over the last few months, but over the last few years, that I've never been one to play the game the way it was intended. And I used to believe that that meant that there was something wrong with me, that I was too much, that I was the problem, that I was the one that needed to condense and shrink and not think so much or make my dreams less significant in the grand scheme of things because, like, what's the point? Well, I've found my point. I've found my purpose, and I'm willing to allow that to ebb and flow and change direction as it grows and as I grow and as I change and as the world changes. And I think it's such a powerful thing when you become aware enough when you become aware enough in this world that you get to start deciding how you want to participate in it. When you decipher the things that you value with intention so that then you can take courageous action towards it. And really being able to see the result of that in your life. And I think that that's like this pivotal moment where I am right now is like, I have taken a lot of risks. I have gone down the road less traveled in many different instances. And it's brought me to this place that feels like freedom. Because even though I have bad days, even though I still struggle, even though I still feel a little misunderstood, I know deep down that I have been led here for a reason. I know that I am worthy of a life that I truly desire, not one that I'm just simply trying to survive. And you deserve that too. If you're here listening, I hope that you're traveling that path as well or thinking about it. Because we all deserve to be liberated from the shackles of survival. And that's going to come in different seasons. There's going to be seasons where we feel that to our bones. I'm in one of those right now. And then there's going to be seasons where we do feel like survival mode is the only answer. That's okay. That's going to happen. But with the self-awareness, with the tools that we've gathered along the way, we can liberate ourselves from that or have the understanding that it's only going to be short-lived. And over the last year, over the last few months, there's just been so many things pouring in. I feel like my mind has just been this endless loop of observation and a gathering of lessons, and really being able to like pinpoint these pivotal moments that are changing for me, that are changing the way that I show up, that are changing the ways in which I utilize my strengths and give myself grace for my weaknesses. It's without this shame, without this heaviness, without this criticism that I used to carry so significantly. And I think that this podcast has been a huge stepping stone in teaching me that. When I first started this a year ago, I would type out an entire script that I was going to read off of whenever I would record an episode. And I would use the prompter and I would go through my conversations. And, there would be times where I would or there would be times riff. There would be times where I would, go off course. But I had to have that structure there because it made me feel safe. It made me feel comfortable because I had this feeling inside that was like, who am I to think that I can pick up a microphone and just endlessly talk and people are going to give a shit or there's going to be value in it. And I think that that was important in the process because it taught me to be more of a direct channel. It taught me to trust my intuition. It taught me to be able to organize my thoughts when I was doing something that was like really out of my comfort zone. I mean, anybody who knows me, like I was born to yap, of course, but putting a microphone in your hand and posting it on the internet for anyone and everyone to see is a little bit different. And so as I started this whole process, it looked very differently. And I put so much pressure on myself for it to be perfect. And my perfectionism is something that I have dealt with, sat with, and really tried to heal for such a long time. But it's so deeply embedded and ingrained in so much of what I do that it's like me only being able to like heal little pieces of it at a time. I can't take on that monster all at once because she's quite hefty. Um and yeah, when it comes to this podcast, when it comes to my voice, when it comes to the things that I think or I believe or I have to say, it's really been a space that has helped me to heal that perfectionism because like I listen to these episodes back or I have these doubts about whether or not the message was clear. And then I get a message from someone that's like, I literally just listened to this episode and it felt like we were sitting down having coffee and having a conversation. Like, thank you for putting that out there. I wish I had somebody when I was younger that I could listen to and learn from in the ways in which you're offering people now. And that means so much to me because it's a vulnerable thing to do this. It's a vulnerable thing to put yourself out there in this way. But the reason I do it, what keeps me coming back is that I wish to be of service. I haven't gone through all of the shit that I have gone through in my life for it to not become useful in some capacity. And, I have a daughter that's 6 and a daughter that's 13. They don't necessarily want to learn all my lessons, even though I very gladly tell them about them on a regular basis. They don't necessarily want to hear them. So here I am, sharing them with the world, sharing them on this platform. And going into season 2, I want to continue doing that. I want it to continue teaching me the lessons that I'm meant to learn. And as this process has gone on, I have watched my filter dissolve. It doesn't have to be perfect and you don't have to agree with me, but we're going to put it out there. And those of you that are meant to find me will. And I've gotten rid of the script and I say my intention prayer as I pick up this microphone each and every time, asking the highest divine God to guide me, to lead me, to allow me to be a vessel of service and a channel, and for it to be received in the ways in which it's meant to be of service to those it's meant to find. And that's it. That's the work. That's all I'm meant to do. I'm meant to show up here and do the work, and then it is going to do its work within the world in whatever capacity it is meant to. And that is the intention that I want to go into season 2 with. But honestly, in a way that feels even more empowered than it did before. I have felt myself grow into my confidence and grow into this understanding and knowing more and more of who I am at my core, knowing that I don't have to be perfect every single time I show up in a room or I pick up this microphone. My messy is what makes my magic. I get in the way when I believe that it has to be perfect. And I said this the other day in a video I posted online. I want to be more committed to the joy of the creation than the perfection of the result. Okay? Let's repeat that again. We together are going to be more committed to the joy of the creation than we are to the perfection of the result. Okay? Because it steals our joy. It steals our happiness. It steals our passion and our fire for the things that we are truly meant to do in this world. I started writing again. I started writing my books again, and books, plural. Like literally, I have like multiple books that I have like partially written, but I allow myself to get distracted from them because I feel like they have to be perfect. Who the fuck writes a perfect book their first go around? Nobody. Okay? Nobody, not even me. Not even me. I can't even do it. But I was taking the joy out of the experience, the excitement that I get because I was constantly fearing it not being good enough, it not being perfect enough. And it's such a shame. That's such a shame because I know so many of us do it. We get in our own way because we feel like it has to reach this specific expectation that is only created in our minds. And this podcast, this platform, this space has been a foundation for me to overcome that. And I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself. And I'm like not afraid to celebrate myself for that anymore. I used to think that being confident meant that I was conceited. And I know now that no, being confident is the ultimate source of self-love. It's me telling myself, I believe in you. I got you. Even if it doesn't work out the way that we think it should. It's going to teach us something. It's going to lead us to the next thing. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? And so here we go, embarking on a season two. Like, it's just like crazy. I did an entire season, 40 episodes of this podcast last year, while also working, adding on to my home, changing my entire business that I had been running for 16 years as a hairstylist, starting a holistic hair salon, selling retail products, like all of these things, raising 2 kids, surviving the grocery store because it's so outrageously expensive, creating content, writing books, spending time with my friends and my family. Like, girl, you're doing the damn thing. And now it's like I have this knowing and this love inside of myself that's just like this reassurance that, like, you do so much. You don't have to be so freaking hard on yourself. And I know so many women and men that are so hard on themselves, and they don't take the time to acknowledge all of the things that they are doing and accomplishing. And I think that this is the perfect opportunity for us to acknowledge our wins and honor our losses and allow ourselves to be able to witness what it means to fully live in this life. Because if not, again, what is the point? What is the point if we're just going to be running on this hamster wheel, never getting to the end and never stopping to allow ourselves to enjoy it? And I don't mean enjoy it by like counting down the days until retirement. I mean enjoying it by finding joy in all of the things that we do, even the things that suck, you know? It's like, I hate doing the dishes, but I've been trying to look at it as this opportunity that's like, hey, I'm just like grateful that I can afford to buy good quality groceries for my family and that I'm a good cook. So I get to cook us meals and pack us lunches or pack the girls' lunches and be able to do these dishes, even when I hate it. And, I want to make my life, I want to make this next year a living prayer. And what do I mean by that? A living prayer. I want to make my life a reflection of all of the things that I pray for and desire. I pray for peace. I pray for abundance. I pray for joy. I pray for love and friendship and excitement, passion, value, service, travel, all of these things, health. And I don't have to necessarily get specific, but I just get to show up. I get to show up. And the more that I appreciate the things that I have, the more of those things that I will acquire. Hello. And so, yeah, here I am. Back in this chair, back with this microphone, ready to take on another season, ready to take on another year of having great conversations and sharing them with the world. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And I'm so grateful to be able to set the intention of living a life that is fully embodied in the empowerment of who I am and the things that I love, surrounded by the people that I love, cultivating my own version of community and being able to just magnetize more and more beauty into my orbit. How great does that sound? So I'm grateful to have you here. I'm so excited. We're going to have a guest episode next week that I cannot wait to share with you, as well as the goal being one guest episode a month. And I already have my list of 12 people. I've already asked 3 that have been confirmed. And I just can't wait to see how those conversations can continue to add value to this space. So if there is anybody specific that you would love to see me have a conversation with, please send me an email, send me a DM, and, you know, tag them on one of my posts. I would just love that, because I think it's important for us to all be heard and share our perspectives in a way that feels loving and exciting and just gives us the ability to hold space for any and all kinds of people in this world. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again from the bottom of my heart for all the love, the support, and all of the things that you have done to really just have my back and show me love this last year with Turn the Paige podcast. And since this is the first episode of season 2, I wanted to give you that little spiel, but then as well dive into some Book Club Friday fun and share with you the shit ton of books that I have read in the last few months. I have gone cuckoo bananas with the reading. I was in such a reading slump at the end of 2025. It was impossible for me to pick up a book and finish it, and I just had such a hard time. I don't know what happened come 2026, but something lit a fire under my ass, and I have been devouring so many books the last few months. I think my book count for 2026 is 16, which, again, for all of the things that I accomplished in a day, that is impressive. That is impressive. So we are going to start with finishing out. In the last Book Club Friday episode, I talked about the Treasure State Wildcat series by Devney Perry, who, if you have listened to me for a while, you know she is my favorite author. Her books are just so easy to read. God, they are so easy to read. And she's not afraid to piss you off, but you always know you're going to get the happy ending. And she includes spice, but doesn't overdo it. If I'm reading 6 pages of spice in a row, it's we're going to skip through that. Because that's just too much. I love the way she writes spice. I love the way that she writes banter. I love that she taps into such different themes in her stories. And so with the Treasure State Wildcat series, I finished Blitz, Rally, and Merit. I had talked about Coach in the last one, but in those 3 books, again, I'm not going to dive into them individually, but the 4th one was my favorite. The 3rd was a second. So Merit, the 4th one, was my favorite. The 3rd, Rally, was a very, very close second. But you've got age gap romance, coach student, which wasn't creepy. That I feel could have been a very creepy storyline, but wasn't. Obviously, the male lead, was not the female lead's actual coach, but he was a coach in another department, so on and so forth. And that was in the book Blitz. It was super great. It was just oh, she writes these male characters, especially in the Treasure State series. She wrote those male characters so well. And I really just loved all of the dynamics that she had in those books. But yeah, Blitz was age gap romance, coach student dynamic. So forbidden romance as well. And it just played out really well, really nicely. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The next one, Rally, was an accidental pregnancy. And I know that can be a controversial trope. I am all for those tropes. Like, I love an accidental pregnancy. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I got pregnant with my oldest like 4 months into a new relationship. So it just can be kind of relatable to me, like the experiences that they go through. Um, but yeah, and I thought it was so cool. I thought it was really cool how it all came together. I thought their relationship was really cute and dynamic. I loved learning more and more about the female lead's background and then the ways in which that the male lead showed up for her, especially after finding out that they were expecting, even though it was like clunky, but like clunky is realistic in my opinion. So that was super great. And then Merritt was like childhood best friends to enemies to lovers. And I loved I hate to say this, I loved the grief aspect of this. You obviously like never love tragedy for your characters, but the processes and the reactions to which certain characters had to the grief storyline in this book, I felt like were really well done. And I loved how they really came full circle with the entire series. The epilogues and like bonus chapters were phenomenal and hilarious. But yeah, like really well done. Really, really well done. And as always, like I will recommend Devney Perry's books until I'm blue in the face. And I can prove it to you because then the next 6 books that I proceeded to read were her Clifton Forge series. And that focuses on a small town called Clifton Forge, Montana, and an ex motorcycle gang. And this is very different than anything that I've ever read by Devney Perry, but it was so good. So good. So interesting. We had the Steel King, Riven Knight, Stone Princess, Fallen. No, wait. Noble Prince, Fallen Jester, and then Tin Queen. And yeah, I loved, my favorite was probably Fallen Jester and Riven Knight. Those were probably my 2 favorite. But I also love Tin Queen. I don't know. I can't decide. But yeah, so it starts with the first book and there is a mystery that unfolds. There is a murder and the male lead of the first book's father is being framed for that murder. And he is the ex-president of the motorcycle club, the son as well, because he had fallen in his footsteps. And then the female lead of the first book gets introduced and she is a news reporter and she is come to work at the local newspaper because her parents live in town and her dad runs it. He owns it. So she is trying to get to the bottom of this mystery and to uncover some more information about the Tin King motorcycle gang, club, whatever, that has disbanded. And so that mystery trickles throughout all 6 books. You get to certain resolutions and then it kind of like spider webs off of that. And so the closeness and the family dynamic, like the found family aspect of all of these characters in all of these books was so well done. And I really loved the ways in which that they each had like their own little baggage, but they were able to untangle it together. The mystery aspect is super fun and it just like adds another element of interest to the story. I will say Stone Princess, which is the 3rd book, was really, really slow for me. That one was really slow. I get it. It was kind of like a bridge. Like you get to a certain point in the storyline and you need that like filler book. And it was like very much filler. It felt like until chapter 18 and then it like took off. So the things that happen in chapter 18 of that book, I wish would have happened like at the beginning and we could have added more in that aspect. But all in all, it was necessary to get through to get to the others. And it wasn't like it was miserable. It just was really slow for me. Anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was different and exciting. And like I said, kind of brought in a little bit of that mystery element. And her books are just so easy to read. So easy. And I just never leave disappointed. Even with the Stone Princess, like it being slow, by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'm still not disappointed. It was just like rough getting through those first 18 chapters. And then we moved away. We moved away from Clifton Forge. We moved away from Devney Perry because I was like, okay, we've got some more books sitting on our TBR before I stay trapped into her world forever. I don't want to read them all at once because then I won't have anything to look forward to. So I went on to Love Song by Elle Kennedy. And if you know anything about Elle Kennedy, she wrote the Off Campus series, which is getting turned into a Prime series. I think it comes out in May. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's like 8 episodes and they all come out all at once. I'm excited to watch it. But follow me here. Follow me if you can. But the Off Campus series is a series of 5 books. And so you have like 4 books are about individual couples. The 5th book is like a compilation of like little short stories of all of the 4 couples. And then she has the Briar U series, which then is an additional 4 books of 4 other couples that are tied to in certain ways through the same college and hockey team as the first series and the first 4 couples. So we're 8 couples in now, guys, okay? I've read all of those books. Loved the Off Campus series. The Briar U series, I liked. Loved maybe one of the books. By the end of that series, I was like, done. I did not like the 4th book in that series. Anyways, and I can't even remember all of the names because there's like so many. And I read them a few years ago. Well, then a couple years ago, we started Second Generation. So you're going back to Off Campus, the first series of Off Campus, the first series, first book. This couple has twins, a boy and a girl. And so the girl gets her own book, and it's called The Graham Effect. Loved, 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 loved. She is a female hockey player, and her male lead are both hockey players, all the things. Loved their story, loved their dynamic, loved their banter, their chemistry, all of the things. And then she has, like, in her series, there's 2 other books of, like, friends of theirs from college. Okay? You still with me? Now, Love Song is the twin brothers book. But his female lead is from the first series, Off Campus series, second book, second couple's daughter. Okay? Do you see how we're crossing paths here? We've got like childhood friends, like they've literally been in each other's orbits forever. Their families are super close. And so in Love Song, I read like some clips of it online. I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this whole world. It's feeling like a lot, but this book sounds really, really good. And these characters sound really, really interesting. So I want to dive in. I think it'll be cool. I have never felt so conflicted about a book. I zoomed through it. Like I read it in just like 3 days, and it's like pretty solid. It's pretty thick. And there were moments that I loved it. And then there were moments that I absolutely hated it. And I'm going to first tell you the things that I loved. I loved these characters' dynamic. The male lead's name is Wyatt. The female's name is Blake. Love that name too for a girl. I loved her fiery spirit. I loved the ways in which she stood up for herself against him. I loved that he was a musician and that he was like very, very deep. He's a very deep well, but tries to portray a very superficial one. And, you know, it's kind of like bad boy, good girl vibes as well. And he feeds into that. He feeds into that bad boy notion. Like he can't be in a committed relationship. And so yeah, I'm gonna start projecting into the things that I didn't like. Okay. I loved certain parts of their personalities in these characters. And in the beginning of the book, I really loved her. I was like championing her. I'm like, girl, you got this. Yes, you tell him where to shove it. And what led them to be in close quarters, forced proximity, blah, 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 blah. He was very annoying in the beginning. So now we're going to kind of like gateway into he was very annoying in the beginning, but I loved him in the end. And again, loved her in the beginning, but she got very annoying in the end. So like flip-flopped on me. And that was irritating. That was annoying because it was like I want to like both of these characters at the same time. And I loved their banter. I loved their chemistry. I loved the family group chats to where it started incorporating all of these other members of the family of these previous generation books. That was super fun. But we get to a certain point. We get to a certain point in the book to where all of these family members and their kids, which are kids that, outside of like the one daughter, we don't know. We've never really been introduced fully to them. We've heard their names mentioned. But like now they're all like under one roof. Keeping track of who was who and what kids belong to which parents and what dynamic, I couldn't keep it straight. And having to go back to Instagram to like look at the family trees over and over, I was just like so annoyed. I'm like, this is pulling me out of the story because I can't for the life of me remember who does she belong to and why do they, okay, are they siblings? Are they not? Are they this? Are they that? Who belongs? And it was like literally from the couples, like the kids of the couples from all 8 books in the 2 first series. It wasn't even just the kids from the parents in the first series. That was 4. It was the kids from all 8. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, I can't keep this straight. And that was like, kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, this is kind of annoying. This is kind of frustrating. And then, like I said, he was annoying in the beginning. And I'm going to tell you why. Because all of his inner dialogue was sexualizing her. Like, he was saying he was fighting his feelings and his emotions, but it was constantly in a sexualized way. And then he also has the same internal dialogue about another female after they've like gotten together and then broken up. Spoiler alert. He's still having the same inner dialogue about this other woman in a very sexualized way. And so I was like, okay, is he just sexualize all women? But like is actually a really deep well and doesn't actually want to hurt your feelings. So then he keeps it all. I don't know. That felt very confusing to me. And some of their sexual banter gave me the ick. Gave me the ick. There were certain moments where I was like, oh, no. No. Did not like that. So again, this book left me very conflicted. He annoyed me for those reasons in the beginning. And then come the end, when like we're getting to the goods, he was great. And he was like really just like coming around and growing into his own. And then she kind of flipped the switch on me. And I was like, I don't understand this. And I don't understand how I feel about it because there's parts of this that I feel like could be so good. But then, yeah, I don't know. It just left me very frustrated. So do I recommend this book or not? I'm really not sure. I'm really not sure because I kind of want somebody to read it so that we could talk about it so that I can know whether or not I'm crazy or not. I know I'm not crazy. Well, entirely crazy. But yeah, that book was just really fired me up because I was just like, ugh, what's happening? Why do I feel so conflicted about it? And why I wanted it to be really good. That's the issue. I wanted it to be really good. And then I read it and I was like, I don't think I liked it. I think I wanted to like it. And I think I liked parts of it, but I think more of it irritated me. So I'm just going to hold on to the little golden nuggets, the little glimmers that I did love. And then we're just going to move on. But also, too, I don't know if I'll read any more in that whole universe because especially if we're going to be name dropping and bringing in all of those characters all the time, I think it'll make my head spin. It was just too much, and it was annoying me because I couldn't keep it straight and I couldn't remember it. Bring some of them in, sure, but you're talking like 7 people, like 7 new characters you're name dropping, and like creating little like subplot lines for in different ways. And I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I can't remember. I'm like, why are they making out? Because they're siblings, but they're not siblings. Just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember who's who. So that's my thoughts on that. If you have read this book and you also felt conflicting or loved it or hated it, please send me a DM so we can talk about this, because I just need to know. I just need to know how other people feel about it, because I read the reviews and they were very mixed. They were very mixed. I think a lower rated book probably for her on like my Storygraph app. But yeah, left me complexed, left me frustrated, and that's okay. That's going to happen sometimes. Not every book is going to be for you. So we've embraced it. In good news, I just finished a solid 5-star read, and this is from Sarah Adams. It is called In Your Dreams, and it is the 4th and final book in her Rome, Kentucky series. There's When in Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, Beg, Borrowed, and Stealed, and In Your Dreams. And it's all about the 4 Walker siblings. And this one is about Madison Walker. She is the kind of the wild card in her family, and she's got big emotions and big ideas, and honestly, I think I've seen a lot of myself in this character, and that's probably why I loved it so much. And the male MC is Jameson Huxley, which is her older brother's best friend. And he has been harboring a crush on her and really being in love with her for many years, but she had moved away to culinary school. And so it's all about her talking about that experience, talking about how she feels like she is a flight risk and flaky and gets restless really easy and always is craving adventure, and but also feels like she fails at so much and always kind of falls short to her family's expectations. Whereas James is very sturdy and stable and loyal, and he sees all of her big, bright, beautiful colors as this kaleidoscope of beauty. And so, yeah, he basically conjures up this idea for her to be able to come home because she is looking for a way, and decides that he is going to ask her to be the chef for a restaurant that he's going to open, that he had no intentions of opening until she needed a reason to come home. And so it's just so sweet. I mean, he is a very, very acts of service kind of guy. So hot to me. Such a turn on. My love language, especially as a 33-year-old woman, acts of service all day. All day, baby. You do not have to tell me how great I am, but when you show up and take care of things without me having to ask you, just because you know me well enough, like, sold. Sold. I'm in. And he is very much that. He is very much that. And so I loved their balance. I loved their chemistry. I loved their banter. It was so, so fun and such a great feel good read. The spice is minimal. And I also enjoy the way that she writes that. It's not like overly graphic, but gets to the point, and it's very passionate. And yeah, absolute 5-star for me. I loved it. I loved this one. If I had to rate the 4 books, the 4th would be my favorite. The 1st would be my 2nd. The 2nd would be my 3rd. And then the 3rd would be my 4th. But they're all really great. Just like an easy, feel-good read. Perfect for summer. Okay? Okay? So I think that's it. Holy shit, that was a lot of books, guys. That was a lot of books. And I hope that all of my rambles about them made sense. So I'm also getting ready to start Rights of the Starling, the 2nd book in the Shield of Sparrows series by Debney Perry. It's her romantasy series, and I've heard such good things about this book, and I'm so excited. I just feel like I might disappear from the world for a day to finish it. And so I've been like, I came in the mail on Monday, so I had to finish this book, and I'm like pace myself, but I'm going to dive into that tonight, and I cannot wait to share with you what I think. So, like I said from the beginning, thank you so much for being here, for listening to me, for supporting me. I hope you found some insight or something to light a fire under your ass, even if that is to just go pick up a good book to read. Okay? All right. I love you guys. I will see you next week with an amazing guest. We are going to talk about community and friendship and gratitude and all of these beautiful things as we finally are starting to dip our toes fully into spring, because Indiana, the Midwest, this shit's got to go. This weather, not been great. So we're finally turning a corner. Thank goodness. And I'm so excited to have that conversation and to share it with all of you. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. If you feel called, please leave a rate or review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. I would significantly appreciate it. And if you want to come say hi, I am on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Turn the Paige Podcast. See you next week.